Today I'm going to be making a batch of fresh milled wheat bread. You're going to need at least 6 cups of, I use hard white wheat berries, and it'll yield between 9 and 9.5 cups of fresh milled flour. I like mine fine, but not too fine. And then I'm going to come over to my mixer and I'm going to add 3 3/4 cups of warm water, around 110 degrees. Any hotter, it could kill your yeast. Any cooler, it might not even activate it. And then I'm going to add 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. Next, I'm going to add 3 cups of the fresh milled flour, 1 cup at a time. You don't want to put it all in there at one time because it takes a little bit of time for it to absorb the liquid. And then you're going to let that rest for 15 minutes. This is what it looks like before the rest. This is what it looks like after the rest. It's all happy and bubbly. That's what you're looking for. And then I'm going to add my sweetener, which I chose honey. I use about 1/2 cup of honey. And it's granular looking because it hasn't been put through a heat. Heat kills your honey bacteria, the good bacteria in it. And then you're going to use the oil of your choice. You're going to need 1/2 cup. Some people use olive oil, some people use avocado oil, some people use canola oil, but 1/2 cup of oil. I've even used palm oil, which I like. And next, you're going to add 3 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Don't forget your salt. I did it and very, very bland. My chickens ended up eating it. And then you're going to add your flour. It can take up to 6 cups, but you only want to start out with 5. You've got to give it time for the fresh milled flour to absorb the liquid. A lot of it depends on the humidity in your area or in your house and just the weather in general. But once it starts getting ready, you'll see it start pulling away from the sides, and that's what you're looking for. It pulls, it's not sticking to it. And after about 12 minutes of kneading, this is what it should look like. And then you want to pull it out and put it into your bowl that you're going to let it rise in. It's going to be a good bit of dough. It makes around, I used this time, instead of 4 small loaves, I did 3 medium-sized loaves. And so I put a tablespoon of oil in my crock bowl, and I'm going to gently shape it into a smooth ball. I like using a crock bowl because it kind of retains its heat while it's rising. And then I'm going to cover it in saran wrap, and then I'm going to stick it in front of my fireplace where it's warm. This is halfway through, and that's fully. It took about 45 minutes to an hour. Then I'm going to go back to my kitchen. I'm going to lightly sprinkle some fresh milled flour on my cutting board. And then I'm going to place the dough onto my cutting board and start shaping loaves. comes out pretty smoothly. If you have some, just take it out and stick it on there. I use a bench knife to cut mine. I like things precise, so I want it to be as close as perfect as possible. My sister wings it. I can't wing it. I'm not a winger. So I get out my digital scale and I weigh each ball of dough. And if one's a little bit bigger, you can take some of the dough off and put it onto the smaller one. And then if you do that, I just re-weigh them again and make sure they're all the same size. I think these are about 380 something grams per ball. And now the shaping process. This is the first one I'm putting in the pan. I'm going to show you in the next one exactly how I do it. Make sure you press the dough into the corners of your pan. I don't use a rolling pin, I just usually smash out with my hand. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I like to roll, and then I kind of tuck in the edges, and then I roll and tuck. And then I bring the seam side up. You'll see the seam. I like to pinch it. I bring my ends in and then I start pinching it all together, and that keeps it together and keeps it from bursting open as bad during baking. And then I put it in my oiled bread pan. Make sure you get it down in the corners. And then I do a side view for you so you'll see about the height of what your dough should be. And repeat the same process. I'm going to line them all up on my cutting board and then off to rise. See the lip? You want a lip. When it gets finished rising, it'll be just at that with a dome top. You'll see it here in a minute. See how much it went over? That's a little more than what I like, but I got sidetracked. But it'll work for here. Then you're going to put your oven on, make sure it's 350, and you're going to gently take off the saran wrap, because if you don't, it's going to make your bread collapse. Put them in the oven and gently shut the door. And then let it cool for 10 minutes after they get done baking, and then you're going to slice. Oh, it's so tender. Makes a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich, ham and cheese sandwiches, grilled cheese. Look how tender. trying to find a dry place to put hay this time of year is about impossible. So you just find the place that's got the least amount of water. You put hay rings around it to keep them from standing on everything else, which don't always help because the yearlings or the calves always get in there. And my husband, boy, he got smart. He started buying them plastic ones, because them metal ones, I tear them suckers up. Got new babies everywhere. There's one right there. Let's see. He says it's too cold to be out here. You being bashful? We have an abundance of hay, so when we have a partial bale like that left over, we'll take the hay bale or hay ring off, and they can use that for bedding later, because it is a hard time. They're miserable. I'm glad I'm not a cow. There's another new baby. It's bath time. He has white eyebrows. I need a name for him, don't I? Nosy. He's gonna come up here and see the tractor. Hunter told me the other day they hunched to make that milk come down. That one's bedding down in some hay. His mama's standing by. It's gonna get to a point I'm not gonna be able to stay in here with them. Have to feed him over the gate. Tomorrow he will be 1 month old, which is 4 weeks, and then he'll have 1 more week on bottle. He'll have 1 more week on full 3 gallons, and then we'll start decreasing them. It's still so nasty and cold here. He's a challenge. It needs another. It needs to get warm so he can get a bath. I sprayed him off and scrubbed him the day before yesterday. It was a little bit warm, but it's just, I'm too scared he's gonna get pneumonia. He's serious. You see that meringue again? He's finished bottle number 1. Two down. You already knocked me over. He just pooted. This is nasty. You nasty. Thank you for joining me today here on Broken Sea Farm. I ask you that you hit that like, subscribe, and share button. And I hope to see you here Friday at 9. 3 you going?